Imagine you're scrolling through your phone when every news channel suddenly goes dark and then lights up with the same message. A killer asteroid the size of a skyscraper will hit Earth in exactly 14 days. No time for goodbyes, no time for bucket lists, just 2 weeks until a rock traveling faster than a bullet turns your city into a crater and kills millions in an instant. This isn't a movie plot, this actually almost happened. In 2019, scientists discovered an asteroid called OK just 24 hours before it skimmed past Earth closer than some of our satellites. If their math had been slightly off, we would have had one single day to say goodbye to everything. And here's the terrifying part. We had no plan. None. We like to think we're this advanced civilization, but when it comes to rocks falling from space, we're basically cavemen pointing at the sky. But recently, scientists have developed something that might actually work, a method so elegant and brutal that it sounds like science fiction, except it's not. We could build it right now with technology that already exists. Let me show you how we'd destroy a killer asteroid with just 2 weeks' notice. First, forget everything you've seen in movies. For decades, we thought asteroids were solid chunks of rock and metal, but we were wrong. Most asteroids are more like bags of gravel, loose collections of rocks and dust barely held together. Which means we don't need to move them, we need to shatter them into a million harmless pieces. Obviously, the first idea is to just nuke it, right? Load up our biggest bomb, launch it at the asteroid, and boom, problem solved. Except the asteroid would destroy the bomb before it even explodes. These things approach Earth at 70,000 kilometers per hour, fast enough to cross the Atlantic Ocean in 5 minutes. No bomb we've ever built could survive that impact. Okay, fine. So we detonate the nuke before it touches the asteroid. We launch, we aim, we set the timer, and sad, tiny boom. The explosion carves out a crater and does basically nothing else. In space, there's no air to carry a shockwave, so most of the bomb's energy just radiates away into the void. The asteroid barely notices and continues on its way to kill us all. You know what? Let's just do the movie thing. Land on the asteroid, drill a hole, plant the nuke inside. This would actually work in theory, but in practice it's completely insane. Landing on any celestial body is a nightmare. Even on Mars, 70% of our attempts have failed. And drilling in microgravity is painfully slow because there's no weight pushing down. We'd be there for months. Time we don't have, so we need to think differently. When you want to split a log, you don't throw rocks at it, you use an axe. And scientists have found the perfect axe for asteroids: tungsten penetrators. These are beautifully simple weapons. Picture a spear made of tungsten, one of the densest metals on Earth, about 2 meters long and weighing as much as a car. We don't even shoot these things. We just put them in the asteroid's path and let them float there. From the asteroid's perspective, this tungsten spear is screaming toward it at 70,000 kilometers per hour. The asteroid basically impales itself. But here's the critical detail. We can't do this too close to Earth. If we shatter the asteroid right before impact, thousands of fragments will slam into our atmosphere all at once and still kill millions. We need to destroy it at least 2 million kilometers away, more than 4 times farther than the Moon. Our current rockets can cover this distance in about a week. So we launch one penetrator, perfectly positioned in the asteroid's path. Then we wait. In the darkness of space, a tiny dot of light appears. It grows brighter. And then suddenly it's here. The asteroid crashes into the tungsten penetrator with the force of 120 tons of TNT. The rock vaporizes, the tungsten melts, and destruction carves deep into the asteroid's core. The energy has nowhere to go, so the entire asteroid explodes into thousands of pieces that spread into a cloud. One day later, the fragments hit Earth, dispersed over hundreds of thousands of square kilometers, turning an apocalypse into a beautiful meteor shower. Crisis averted. Humanity survives. But that was just a baby asteroid. What if we're facing something truly terrible? What if it's a planet killer? planet killers are comets from the outer edges of the solar system, dirty ice balls the size of mountains, traveling at 140,000 kilometers per hour, with the destructive power of thousands of times all nuclear weapons on Earth combined. In 2020, a comet called Neowise, carrying the power of 6,000 times our entire nuclear arsenal, was discovered just 4 months before its closest approach to Earth. It missed us, barely. But what if it hadn't? What if we discovered a planet killer 6 months before impact? Here's the brutal truth. A planet killer has so much mass that even if we shattered it, the chunks would still set the entire sky on fire. We'd need to destroy it much farther away, out near Mars. And to destroy a mountain-sized comet, we'd need hundreds of thousands of penetrators and 24,000 super-heavy rockets. Humanity has built exactly 2. If we discovered a planet killer right now, there is literally nothing we could do. We would just watch it come. Unless we get creative. Unless we combine penetrators with nuclear weapons in one desperate, perfectly choreographed last stand. For this to work, we need everything ready before the comet exists. A massive rocket, fully loaded with nuclear warheads and penetrators, sitting on a launch pad waiting. The moment the planet killer is spotted, we launch. For 5 months, the rocket travels through space while Earth nervously watches. Finally, it reaches its destination beyond Mars. Now comes the hardest part. We deploy 5 massive tungsten penetrators in perfect sequence, each positioned exactly 2 kilometers behind the other. A few incredibly brave astronauts go on this one-way mission to make sure everything is aligned perfectly. They have no way home. They know this. They go anyway. The world watches. And then the moment arrives. The mountain of ice and death appears, and it's already here. The comet smashes into the first penetrator at 140,000 kilometers per hour, releasing the energy of 2,000 tons of TNT. Ice, rock, and tungsten liquefy as the impact carves dozens of meters deep. The second penetrator hits the exact same spot, drilling deeper. The third and fourth repeat this, smashing a tunnel 100 meters deep. But even this is just a scratch. And then comes the fifth penetrator, carrying 300 megatons of nuclear warheads, 20,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima. It travels deep into the tunnel, and just before it reaches the end, it detonates. This time, the nuke works perfectly. All that energy smashes into rock and ice, vaporizing the comet from the inside. The planet killer becomes a cloud of millions of fragments spreading harmlessly away. Earth is saved. The astronauts who made it possible never come home, but their names are remembered forever. Here's what's amazing. None of this is science fiction. We could actually do this right now with technology that already exists. We have the rockets, the engineering knowledge, the tungsten, and definitely the nuclear weapons. All we need is the planning and the will to build it before we need it. Because right now there could be a killer asteroid heading toward Earth, and we wouldn't know until it's too late. But if we prepare now, when that day comes, we won't be helpless. We'll be the species that looked at the universe trying to kill us and said, "Not today." We'll be the species that saved itself.